But yeah, what's going on, man? How you doing? I know this is a long time coming here.
Yeah, this is exciting, man. I brought it up in your Twitch the other day. The irony and the hypocrisy of the lovely. I hate saying right wingers because I consider myself mainly right wing, but
Mhm.
I think it's more finited on the Republican Party, man. I started following you because I honestly, and I know you get this a lot. I thought you were a conservative, and I know you lean a little right, but then when I watch more of your videos, I'm like, oh, he's pretty centered. But no, man, there is some hardcore righties on
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
on TikTok.
yeah, I get that a lot with like, hey, with the conservative thing. I think it really is just because, like, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just like the way I talk, I guess. Like, progressive people tend to be so super sensitive, and that they kind of stay away from like, I don't know, funny jokes. At least that's funny to me. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah, no,
no, it seems to be unfortunate that like progressiveness to some extent seems to come with like weakness, stereotypically at least. I think we lost him again. Can you still hear us, or well, me? The hell? What the fuck? Lennar Odes, female friend. What the fuck?
God, this is cutting in and
You
out so
back? Are you
bad.
back? So is it your internet or
Yeah,
is it your
yeah,
computer?
man.
Was it your internet or your computer?
No, I'm hard lined in, man, and I have like top speed internet, so I have no idea what it is.
Oh,
It
maybe
just
it's
might be running too many programs at once.
maybe.
Let me close all this out.
You still playing golf in the background?
No, I closed all of that out, man. There, let's try this.
Yeah. If not, when did you say you're getting your new PC in?
In like a week.
Yeah, so
Should
I
be a
mean,
week.
yeah, if it doesn't work out today, we could always, recollect in a week.
Yeah.
No worries
This is
at all.
Christmas Eve, man.
I know. Are you excited for Christmas?
Stoked.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm not going too crazy
All right.
this Christmas. So you
You can
might.
still hear me, right?
Yeah, I could still hear. Can you still hear me?
All right, we're doing this. No, you know what it was? It was me trying to stream at the same time. So I just ended everything. Now my
Oh,
camera's working. So I was just
okay.
pulling too much shit, but now we're good to go. So my
All right.
streamers can jump over. I only have 1,500 on Twitch, so they can jump over. I posted
We
your
have
Twitch in
1,500
there.
viewers on Twitch.
No, my God, I wish
Oh,
1,500
I was about to
followers
say, I'd
so
be like,
far in the
wow.
last couple weeks.
I'm about to say, wow, only February. It's crazy. I think
I
I hit
wish.
that during like the election. It's very funny though because after the election, like I and I'm not really even upset about it, but like my traction sank a bit, like quite a bit. Once Donald Trump lost, man, people stopped really giving a shit,
Well, and
myself
that's
included, to be honest with you.
yeah, no, really, and I think that's a lot of it because I know even I've fallen victim to the whole there's a shadow ban, they don't like me because I'm conservative. No, TikTok lost a lot of political hype
Oh
after
yeah,
early November.
it's
So
true.
whether the shadow ban's real or not, I whatever,
They
man.
admitted that there is such thing as a shadow ban in their last, because they've been like dancing around it. I know it exists. Like
Yeah.
but like, so in more than a shadow ban, it's more of like a priority system, unless you're like a real piece of shit. Like for me, if I get a video reported and pulled down, I get like lower priority. So you can instantly see like the views flip from like, which is like whatever. Like I had it happen today. I had a little bit of a dip today. I had a video. I said the R slur and it got pulled down. So it was like it was one conservative TikToker trying to have a conversation about like the word. Well, I don't want to say it on here, but like, well, whatever. It's on here. It's not that big a deal. It's educational. The word retarded, and he kept saying it. So I just like played the video, and then I just called him retarded at the end. And I was like, this is probably not good, but whatever. But it is what it is.
And this was on TikTok.
Yeah. I got pulled down like 10 minutes,
Oh man,
which is it
you
is
know
what
what?
it is.
I've been escaping it because I talk about some controversial shit and I hear everybody, I had 11 videos removed today, like Nick Foster. Like I was
Nick
I talked
Foster,
with
man.
Nick like a month ago. We played Among Us with a whole bunch of other guys, and
Mhm.
then just I keep up with him time to time, how he's getting 12, 13, 14 videos removed. I post a lot of political stuff and I haven't gotten
Yeah.
anything removed, but I don't get views either anymore like I used to. So maybe
Yeah.
it's the trade off.
I have like I haven't gotten views like I used to since like right when they started monetizing. That's when I
Yeah.
started because like I was doing, you know, me and Nick Foster. Well, you know, we both make edgy jokes. I'd say he's a bit edgier, but then like at that point, I'm like, all right, like listen, it's not like my edgy videos were necessary. They weren't like educational or informative. They were just funny. So I was like, all right. Like there's I have like an alt account where like occasionally I'll just make a really insensitive video. Doesn't usually get pulled. Have you ever heard the audio that's like hold on a second. Okay. Do you know the audio that's like oh my god, this is so I can't wait to be fucking I can't wait to be moved out of here. Do you know the audio that's like, how do I say this, like, you're homophobic?
Yeah. I've used that. I've used that a couple times.
Yeah. I made a video that was like, it just cut it off right when it's like, how do I say this? And I was like, you're normal. And like their point was that if you wouldn't date a trans, so like that would get pulled down off my main account. So I put it on like an alt account. I know that would happen is because I kept reposting it and it kept getting pulled down, and then it finally stopped getting pulled down. But it got like 1 million views each repost. So like I know that that's the kind of humor that like my old school humor just doesn't work like it used to.
Yeah, I got away with it because I used it, did the same thing. I clipped off of the end before it says it. I did a stitch on where they were talking about semi-bisexual.
Oh, like that stupid one where it's like semi-bisexual. Yeah, you're basically straight. Yeah.
So I just clipped it, and at the end I said, "You're gay or you're straight. You're one or the other. There is no semi-bisexual." But whatever. So again, it didn't get pulled down, but I'm trading off for literally, and I can't complain, man. TikTok, this is all so foreign to me, man. I jumped on TikTok like 4.5, 5 months ago on a serious level. Never in a million years expected, 300,000 people to give a shit what I thought about anything. It's wild to me. So,
oh yeah, same here, man. I jumped on like March, and it's like been a fucking shit show.
It's just there's so many egos, though. I know. I'm sure you've seen it. Somebody hits whatever 500,000, and now they're doing meet and greets and like, bro.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like they feel like they're super celebrities. Like I've gotten noticed a few times in public, and I try to like take pictures and stuff, and like I would go to an event, but like some people take it a little too seriously. Like it's TikTok, man. Like 500, like okay, I have something like 1.4 million. 1.4 million is like nothing on any other platform. Like I've managed to get like 115,000 people on YouTube, but like my engagement, it's just not there. You know what I mean? Like it's people, people aren't looking for 10-minute videos or even hours of long videos. Generally, they're looking for like micro bits on TikTok. So.
And that's why Vine was so big, man. I was so disappointed. I wasn't a creator on Vine, but I enjoyed it because of how quick it was to scroll through. But yeah, like sitting down and watching an 1.5 hour long podcast, that's a very specific crowd.
Yeah, and it's not young people on TikTok, I'll tell you that. It's definitely not young. It's hard to get into like the thing. I will say that the great thing, and I'm just starting to like notice it now, is like the monetization on TikTok is much better than I thought it was. But you don't make shit if you stitch or duet videos.
Yeah, man, I was in. I left the creator
did you?
fund. Yeah, like 3 days ago, just because I got so tired of literally the night and day difference. I was in it before the election, and I was making whatever $8, $9, $10 a day on views, which wasn't bad. Hey, it's extra side money, whatever. And then after the election, like 27 cents a day, 18 cents a day, 50 cents a day. Like, come on, man. I left it.
For me, like when I was at like I'd make about $10 to $20 a day, but now that I'm making solo content, my past 4 days have been like $150 a day.
That's wild,
ridiculous. Man. It's crazy. I don't even know how. Which is good because like this is my job. So like Twitch and YouTube have been like they've been okay, but they haven't been like what I would consider like supportive enough. So more than I expected to get from TikTok, but it's been very nice.
Oh yeah, I get it. Once I get set up, I'm trying to get there. Like maybe 9 months to a year from now, and do the Twitch, YouTube thing. But yeah, TikTok, If anybody puts all their eggs in one basket for TikTok, they're screwed because I don't know how long it's going to last. I think the hype's eventually going to die out, kind of like Vine, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
it'll probably turn into like another Instagram. I just don't know what would take it over because like we had you have YouTube, which is still like has its own thing. We're like full length videos, and you have Instagram, which is more about like pictures and bullshitting, and then you have like TikTok, which is about like micro clips. And I wonder what would replace it next. Because I don't know what they could possibly do that would like take it over.
Yeah.
But you never know. You can't really put all your eggs in one basket. It's a fucking terrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. That's why I'm like happy to be over because like this is my job now, like Twitch, YouTube, all that other bullshit, TikTok, I guess now. So it's cool.
Awesome, man.
And if it ever didn't work out, I'll go be a bus driver. I don't care.
And that's the way I look at it. Like so many people with the whole eggs in one basket thing, they're like, "Oh, it has to work. It has to work, bro." What are you scared to work a regular job? Like, I mean,
right.
Again, that's the society we live in, and I'm not knocking anybody Gen Z or anything like that because I'm still a millennial, but like, yeah, I see so many people on here, the what do I call them, SoundCloud musicians and all that, like no life experience, no job, no nothing, and if this doesn't work, what are you gonna do, dude?
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to work. Like I worked like I was a bus cleaning manager for like that's 6 years, and then for the other 4 years I was a part-timer doing the same thing. Like I know how to work a normal job. Like the way I look at it is like I lost almost nothing coming away from that job. Like I had like 10 years of whatever, but like the job I was in didn't even have like a pay scale or whatever. There wasn't really getting any vacation. If I have to, I could just go back to a bus company, become a bus driver in my area. They make a decent living, and that's the rest of my life. Or I could work for like my girlfriend has a her uncle like runs a security firm. I could do that. Like I don't care if I have to go back to work, but I figure what does it really hurt to try to go with this? But some people, like you said, this is their whole life, and if they don't have it, they're fucked,
Well, and another big thing I think is working a job that's like real life. And when I say that, meaning the interactions you have with people, the conversations you have with people, the shit you learn just with the guys you work with. A lot of people don't experience that. Then they get on the internet and just blurt out what they're actually thinking. And it's, hey man, there's, 50 million people watching you now. This isn't a conversation you're having in a break room. But I
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's so funny too because like even in that, there's so many people who think that like TikTok is like the real fucking world, man. Like you have so many people like, and it's a lot of these, and like I guess I got caught up in it too, but then you have to pull back from it. Like you have a lot of people on here with stuff that's like, oh, you can't be racist to white people, and like stop appropriating my hair, and like the skin color thing, and like all this stuff, and it's like, but in the real world, like nobody thinks that. Like,
nobody even says anything.
No, they don't give a fuck. Most people, like, at least in like my experience, which is like the middle class experience, which is mostly just like, I work with a lot of like Black and Hispanic people. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about.
Everybody just is there for their 9 to 5 and their fucking paycheck, man. And that's
what galvanizes everybody. It's like I'm just here to work, and then you just like mutually respect that, and then you don't fuck with people's money or their wives. That's pretty much the real world. But people don't really understand that a lot of the time.
Well, and that's I don't know. Maybe that's the appeal of TikTok that I'm slowly losing because I don't know how many videos I've done on the whole. Yeah, you can't be racist to white people. Oh my god,
it's out of control, man. It's crazy. There's so many people that are like lost in the theory here, and they're just it's crazy.
And I get it, and I'm still on the fence with the systemic racism, and I know that's a hot topic and a hot take. Like my theory has always been systemic racism did exist at one point, but now it's so few and far between that there are people within the system that are racist, but the system itself, meaning the laws that are written, the Constitution, the amendments, nothing directly applies to one race. So it would have to be somebody individually enacting their racism within the system to be racist. And explaining that, people are like, "Oh, no, you don't understand." Okay, give me one law. Name one law.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's not about the law. No, it is, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Because like, so from the perspective that I usually, when I talk about systemic racism, is from the perspective that like there were systems in place, and like the echoes of those systems still haven't been course corrected, right? So like redlining laws, and like we can even go back to slavery, segregation. Like they have set people up, and like you could see there's a disproportionate amount of like funds in the black community. I would even go as far to say welfare is an aspect of systemic racism, kind of, because it keeps people in like that poverty hole. And that's like the greater issue. And then we often talk about whether systemic racism doesn't or doesn't exist. But a lot of times when I have these conversations, I always ask, like, do you think that there's like a class issue? And most people agree. And I feel like any removal of systemic racism is going to be almost 100% like dealing with the class structure in the United States.
Yeah.
That's how I come from. Because like a lot of people talk about reparations and shit. I'm like, nah, I'm not a, if black people are disproportionately poor, my perspective is like, let's deal with things that will disproportionately help poor people, like prison reform. I don't know if you're probably not too keen on, but like some kind of a single payer healthcare system for people that can actually, so that everybody has access to it. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a UBI guy. So
well, I was just about to bring it up, man. I said just from watching maybe like 5 or 6 of your YouTube videos, you're slightly selling me on the idea of UBI. Slightly.
Well, I appreciate you watching my videos.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I watch your shit. I like for the last couple of weeks I've been floating around YouTube, and honestly, it was ever since, because I know we've been following each other before. It was the Gemini thing where I'm like, I sat down from start to finish and watched that whole thing. It's holy shit, man. He analytically broke this down like a psychologist view of what this dude's doing, pandering, and not being apologetic to the actual issue, but more apologizing for the clout. And like you said, forget about what I did, guys. Let's get back to my bullshit content because I want to be accepted. My 3.1
right followers. Yeah, and I want to be able to monetize my platform. Yeah, right. And that's so crazy because that was my big YouTube moment. And like it's cool, but like people wanted me to recreate that with like every single Predator or person. Like Tony Lopez, it's a tough situation, but like I'm not trying to force a Gemini situation to stay relevant, because that's like how you get caught up in this bullshit where you like force like the most intense perspective of everything in order to like stay relevant. And I don't want to be that personality that like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be like a Keemstar where like, the slightest thing needs to be an issue.
Yeah. It's not. And I hate using this word, man. It's toxic. But oh my god, when somebody says that to me, I lose my mind. It's toxic. Shut up. And that word's only been relevant for like the last 3 years. Stop it.
Yeah, nobody said that before. It's a real thing, though, man.
I know. But yeah, the Gemini thing did it for me, and then I started watching. And then you're talking about UBI. Now I don't know much about it. I've been reading up a little bit. I know Andrew Yang was heavy pushing it. I'm looking at it as a replacement to welfare.
Yeah. That's one of the things that sold me on it. Yeah,
because a lot of the stuff that I read, some people believe in it in addition to welfare, and then some people believe it as a replacement. And I'm like, additionally, you're talking extreme taxes, but in replacement to it, I can see it.
I can't justify the funds in addition to welfare. It's crazy. And like a problem with listen, and like I don't know what it is about some progressives that they genuinely don't believe that there are people on welfare who just want to abuse the system. Like they think that everybody who's disadvantaged is like, oh, I want to get off this. So there are a lot of people on welfare who want to get off welfare, but there's a lot of people on welfare who try to abuse the fuck out of it. I have like a family member that's in the same thing. Like I know it's true. That's why this is like a replacement to me. Like that's what it is. And like, of course, welfare will still exist, but the idea is to get people off of it. Because there's a ton of people who don't want to be on it. They want to work, but they just can't because they'll lose their welfare. And that's like one of the issues with like the welfare trap.
Well, yeah, and I've been saying that. And again, this can kind of lead into my, everybody pegs me to be a Republican because the second they see my videos, they're like, oh, he voted for Trump, so he must be as hard right as possible. No. I talk a lot of centered and some liberal issues, but welfare to me keeps people at the line of poverty, like literally never enough to save, but enough to pay your bills check by check. So there is no getting out. It's just, hey, here's your monthly income, pay what you need to. You'll have $20 left over. Go get yourself a pack of cigarettes and some alcohol, drown your sorrows away, and we'll do it again next month. So you're never leaving welfare. You're stuck on it for life. And that's the trap. But yeah, like you said, do I know people that abuse the hell out of it? And have quote unquote side jobs that make them a lot of money and live on wealth. Yes. But I think putting the money back as far as the UBI, putting it in people's pockets and allowing them to spend it how they see fit. Yeah, it'll a good percentage of it would reinvest back into their own community rather than, because a lot of welfare programs are so specific to where you could spend the money, like food stamps. You can only buy certain things. Well, then they can only go to certain stores.
It's true, and it's crazy too, because I don't know if you know this, but like you can go to 7-Eleven and you can buy like a pizza for them to prepare it, but like you can't buy like one of those oven roasted like chickens from like this like a supermarket. And that's
by the most unhealthy shit ever.
Yeah, it makes it worse because then you have people who are poor that are also now even more unhealthy because, and then they already may have like limited food choices. That's like that doesn't help because now they're going to disproportionately, basically, utilize more healthcare, whatever money. It's just it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm been reading up a lot about it. I don't know if I would have fall off had he got the nomination, voted for Andrew Yang just based off of that. I mean, I try not to be a single issue voter, but
he had some good takes on a lot of stuff, like on like a lot. Because I looked into him a lot. So for his education, for instance, like I know that there's this big push from progressives to make all education like wipe out the debt and make all education free, and like I'm not on board with that at all. I think we have an issue in our like education system that doesn't push people enough towards trades, which we're like in desperate need of, like HVAC and whatnot. Which that's something that we need to implement. But also, so his perspective, which I agree with, is like eliminate the debt because it is like economically crippling. But then also implement like a 10 for 10 type program where you pay 10% of your wages for 10 years. And if you pay it off, good. If you can't, then okay. And then it's like a reset. And then it's basically telling schools because the biggest expenditure increase has been from administrative costs, which do very little for students or teachers. So his thing was like, okay, tell them they have to get in line with particular administrative costs. And if they don't, we just won't give them any more subsidies and they'll reduce their costs drastically because they have to. And like that, so that's like, that's reasonable. Okay. So let's do we do a soft reset. We get people to pay back as much as they can. And then moving forward, we reduce the price of school. I can wrap my head around that.
Yeah, you gotta give some to take some, and veering off a little bit more drastic. I kind of feel the same way. If you're good, if you're gonna get taken care of, then you need to put up. And I know it's edgy, the whole drug testing for unemployment and welfare.
Mm-hmm. Are you for that?
Yes, I am. Now that the devil's lettuce, I don't know what Twitch allows. Half the time I'm so scared to say
you could I think you could say the word, like you could say marijuana. You just can't smoke it unless it's legal in your state. I just try to keep the smoking off of it.
Somebody asked me, they're like, oh, what's your take on Christians and smoking weed? And I did this long 60-second video on TikTok, like literally just saying marijuana. I smoke cigarettes, but I'm not smoking weed or anything. Mm-hmm. And the second I didn't post anything in text, I didn't even say anything in the tags. But I guess the word marijuana is
was it flagged?
Triggered in there. So bro, no, I didn't even post. It was just this video is not allowed. It's been reviewed. Blah blah blah. Right, whatever. But no, now that marijuana is legal, I don't see a problem if people are going to accept, certain benefits. Okay, put that off to the side. You pop positive for marijuana, then you're good. But everything else, you're doing some hard hitting drugs, then we got a problem. But then again, I'm a walking contradiction because I think we could save a lot of taxpayer money by decriminalizing a lot of drugs.
Yeah, right.
So I'm on the fence,
and that's my thing with like when it comes to drug testing people. The biggest issue I have with that on these services is that like it's very easy to dodge a drug test and it's very expensive to implement. Like this type of. So I would say I'm not really in favor for drug testing people who are on welfare. It's easy to avoid, and like it's not really going to have the impact that we want it to have. It's not going to save us money. It's going to increase money. I'm more of the perspective of like, listen, there are always, regardless of what we do, are going to be like inherent issues with whatever system we come up with. And then like moving forward, I just don't think that's the best way. I think we need to get people off of drugs. We need to like decriminalize drugs and then also offer like there's really no reason to put drug addicts into jail. Like correctional officers shouldn't have to deal with drug addicts, and drug addicts should go somewhere they can actually get help that they can actually use.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, well, if everything stayed the same in the way that it is, which it probably will, they'll never decriminalize drugs. That's why I'm for the testing. But if we did something in society that decriminalized drugs, again, oh my God, conservatives saying it. This is where I start catching heat when I start veering away from the normal conservative rhetoric. Yeah, decriminalizing drugs frees up jail space for the pedophiles that you guys cry so much about. So again, and when you say that, then that's when all of a sudden, oh, well, I'm okay with paying taxes for everybody to be in jail. There's not enough staffing, man. It's not just jail space. It's not just staff space. It's not just this. We're literally letting off, first offense rapists and low level child molesters for in place of somebody who has a crack addiction.
Yeah, because we only have so much space, and then we're putting like people. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. No,
so I'd rather live next door to a crackhead than I would a pedophile. 100%, and putting that into perspective for people, they're like, oh, we'll just put them both in jail. It doesn't work that way, because this is also the same political ideology and party that complains about taxes. So you want to lower the taxes, decriminalize drugs, stop paying, the ATF, the FBI, CIA, all the money that we dish out on this bullshit war on drugs. People are going to do them whether they're legal or not. That's always been my view. People are going to do them whether they're legal or not.
They are, and there's like a certain like level, because of course I think they should be illegal, but it's like, what's the treatment method for it? Like, if people who are drug addicts aren't inherently bad people, they just have like a problem, and it would be, I would say, more expensive to put them in jail than it would be to put them in some kind of like a rehab program. Yeah, like, no, I completely understand it from that perspective. I think Oregon actually decriminalized drugs. And they made it so that if you have under a certain amount of, like, depending on the drug, whether it's like cocaine or heroin or whatever, depending on how much it is, instead of sending you to jail, they send you to a rehab facility, and then you go through that treatment instead. And I think that's a better way to go.
I'm for it, and I'd have to look at the money. Again, it's probably a little bit cheaper, because I would assume that the security levels are a little bit lower, the staffing levels are probably lower than that of a prison.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because I play both sides, man. It's the same thing with the death penalty. That's probably, aside from the Trump losing thing, that's probably what I catch the most flack for. Not only from Christians, but from right wingers. Is I am completely against the death penalty. No, death penalty.
Oh, you're against the death penalty. Really quick, somebody said, what do you do with drug dealers? I mean, that's the criminal thing. Like, they're going to have possessions with intent to sell, so they would go to jail. So you're against the death penalty, you said? Huh?
Yeah, man. I
feel like Christians I think I would have thought that most Christians would have been against the death penalty.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised.
I guess that makes sense, because my take on Brandon Bernard seemed to be rather conservative to people.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, man. I did a couple stitches and duets, and all my quote unquote, or whatever, 50% of my supporters that are conservative, it's always a draw the line moment. Like, oh yeah, I can understand how you're against the death penalty, but for pedophiles, no, we smoke them on the spot. Like, dude, again, not getting preachy, but in the Christian religion, at least in the New Testament, no, you don't do that. Now, am I saying let them out on the streets and all is forgiven? No, I'm fully for a life sentence. I'm fully for it. Remove them from society. Allow them to live the lowest, whatever, the 5% of life that they have left of literally waking up, eating, and being around a bunch of other criminals. I'm okay with that.
Right. Yeah.
But from a conservative standpoint, it's more expensive to pay for somebody on death row, to pay for their appeals, to pay for their specific staffing and housing. And then from a Christian level, no, I don't think it's an eye for an eye is Judea law theory. So I catch a lot of flack for being anti-death penalty.
It's interesting though, because like what you said before about like kill basically like pedophiles, that I feel like it's not something that progressives will say, but that's the way that they feel. Because I got a lot of shit for the Brandon Bernard situation. But like I guarantee if you said something about pedophiles, I'd be like, oh no. And like for me, I haven't really explored capital punishment. Like I think that there are situations where like capital punishment would be fine, but it doesn't. See, my thing is like I would never fight for capital punishment. You could see it in society, like we're shifting away from it. That's totally fine. I'd never fight for it. And my take was like I don't care, because I was more interested in the two people who were murdered than the person who was an accomplice. And people were like, "Oh, you don't care about reform?" And it's like, you dumb motherfuckers. No, I care. Like the people, like I know there's people who think I don't because of that, but there are people who know my content. That I talk about reform, and they're just like, "Wow, you don't care about reform?" It's like, no, I don't care about specifically the reformation of like somebody who's an accomplice to murder. Like to me, there's a point that you hit where you simply cannot be reformed to the degree where you're able to go back into society or even in general pop. Like if you're if you're like an active accomplice to a murder or a murderer, if you want to put that person in prison for life, that's fine, but they can't go back into general population and they can't go back into society. So like reform to me is irrelevant for that person. And in the context of him being an accomplice to like a horrible, brutal scenario where they drove a couple around for 9 hours trying to steal their money and then shot them in the head and lit them on fire, I'm not exactly sympathetic to that person. And every single one of the mainstream talking points were just false. Like I went through them all on stream. They were bullshit, and they were subtextually trying to suggest that he was innocent, and it was like insane.
Yeah, no. God, what is her name? I think there's a chick. I did a couple stitches and video reviews. Victoria Hammett.
Victoria Hammett.
Yeah, she's on there. Brand, I love the first name referral to, like as if you personally know him. Brandon didn't shoot anybody.
Right.
He didn't. You're getting him confused with the other. Yeah, but he did light the car on fire.
Yeah.
So again,
and he was in a gang. You know.
Yeah. So this isn't like, hey guys, what are we doing? Oh, we're shooting people and lighting cars on fire. No, I'm out, and guilt by association.
No, it's a collection thing. And then they're like, well, he had a gun to his head. He had to do it. And it's like, well, that's what he said, and the only people that could contest that are dead in the ground. So like, how am I supposed to take those words? You know what I mean? And like, nobody's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's always like, no. Like for whatever reason, and they don't understand that like, okay, all this rhetoric's being pushed by Kim Kardashian because she's trying to get him out, or not out, but like trying to get him from not getting killed. I get it, but like one of the aspects of our like our system when it comes to our court system is both sides play guilty or innocent as much as possible. So like, she's gonna say, hey, he's innocent. And then they're going to say, no, he's guilty. And then they're going to hopefully meet in the middle at a point where he doesn't get. That's the point. But everybody's eating up the rhetoric and acting like it's like true. But like it's not. Like it's as much as he possibly can do. He seemed like a nice guy. I wish the two people that are dead weren't, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seems to have, and like maybe this is a little intense, but the family seemed to get peace out of him being killed. So I wouldn't advocate for it, but like I'm not upset about it. And I know that's a harsh take, but.
Well, and again, I think a lot people aren't in the position to speak on. Again, that's me as looking at it from society. We're not in the position to speak on anything for anybody because we're not the ones living it. But looking at Kim Kardashian, because everybody brought that up, and obviously that's why it gained so much steam. I will say this: I credited her a little bit. Mm-hmm. She has done this for other prisoners, so this wasn't the one. I was pissed at everybody else after her, like the TikTokers, like Kim Kardashian has made this somewhat of a side career of advocating for prison reform, and it wasn't about his race. It wasn't about his,
that's a good. No. That's actually a very good point. That's a very good point. Like this wasn't a black guy who was getting unjust. No. This was a guy who like the situation was misinterpreted. And when you bring up that point, there's I think his name is Purvis Payne. There's a guy, I think it's Purvis Payne, and nobody gives a shit. Where basically what happened is he was accused of a murder. Like they found him at a crime scene, a bunch of other stuff, but they never they never tested DNA at all. And it's like, that to me is like, okay, like don't kill him because you never even bothered testing DNA evidence. They had a ton. They had like blood. They had like the scratchings under her fingernails, the skin, like and whatnot. Never tested it. To me, that suggests that he might actually be innocent.
You're leaving a big room for error, and it's
unnecessarily.
happened. They've taken people out, or they've put somebody away for 40 years, and then hey, sorry guys, we were wrong. It was his brother-in-law, and here, whatever. Here's $50,000 for every year that you served. That doesn't get me my 40 years of lost life back.
Not at all. It's crazy though, and like to me, DNA it seems to be always the fuck up. It's like, oh, we didn't test. Oops, sorry, and it's like, give me a break. And that's where, but nobody's talking about it, and it's like. Everybody got riled up over my take on the situation, and like a lot, and like honestly, is a lot of virtue signaling, like, oh, death penalty's bad, but like now that it's over, there's no action for the people who were so loud and against it. Nobody's talking about Purvis Payne. Nobody's talking about anybody else. Nobody really gives a shit. It was like they were riled up over this one situation. They decided to assign like a Black Lives Matter narrative to it. They never actually explained upon, elaborated upon it, and now it's gone, and nobody cares anymore. That's what it was.
That was one of my videos. I said there's still 53 people in the United States on death row. Most of the people during this Brandon Bernard situation weren't even alive when he was sentenced, let alone been alive through whatever, even half of his sentence. Everybody that's speaking out about it, 16, 17, 18 years old, he's been in prison longer than they've been alive. And now all of a sudden, okay, Kim Kardashian's talking about it. It's hot. Okay, it's a Black Lives Matter thing. It's hot. What is there going to be any advocacy for the other 52 that are on death row that are possibly innocent? That are, I think 23 of them are black, 22 or 20 of them are white, or whatever the numbers were.
Yeah, nobody. It's not interesting to them. Yeah, it's not generating views.
Are you going to be a anti-death penalty reform advocate for the rest of your life, or was this just the wave?
It was the wave.
99.999 continuing percent of the people, it's the wave. It was hot. It was relevant. It's virtue signaling.
Oh yeah. It's been quite a wave too, because like a lot of people were upset over my take.
I saw the flack that you were catching, and I get it, man. You can't please both sides, because that's me. The second I say something about, hey, I don't really agree with Trump here, 60 to 70% of my followers are like, hey man, I thought you were a realist. I am. You just don't like the truth that I'm speaking.
Yeah, it just comes out. Like I try, like, and I don't try to play both sides. I have like particular perspectives, and I try to like make what I say palatable for people. But this was like my one non-palatable take, and like I've been getting hit pretty hard. I think I lost 25,000 followers so far. Oh no, I lost like 33,000 followers.
Over that video?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? The way because I was like upset at first. I'm like, damn, I just hit 1.5 mil. Now I'm back down to 1.4 mil. But it's like, you know what? I think that for me, this is like, it kind of feels like, okay, well, one thing I got, my views like almost quadrupled. So like, I'm not that upset about it. So I went to get like 500,000 views a day to like 3.5 million. So I'm like, okay. So I think a lot of people who followed me and unfollowed me, they weren't really people who consumed my content. Like I had a young girl on here. She's like, oh, I really looked up to you. I followed you at the Gemini thing. And it's like, you followed me at something that happened like 6 months ago, or maybe not that long ago, but a long time ago. And then like that's the most noticeable thing that you know from me. So like to me, that suggests that you look at my content on your For You page and you just flick right past it. And I think that's most of the people who unfollowed me. I think part of the reason that I've gained traction is because like, I got up in the priority when I talked about the situation, the Brandon Bernard situation, but then also those people aren't getting my videos now, so they're not skipping through my videos, because that's how it works. Yeah. Like you make your videos, it goes out to like a group of people. If they like engage with it in this particular way, it goes out to another group of people. So I'm getting more engagement. So like, I mean, this is what it is. I mean, I'm probably never gonna go up to like even 1.5. I might even drop down to 1.3. We'll see what the fuck happens in the next month. I don't know.
Yeah, that shit's a riot, man. Yeah, the Papa you missed. No, you just don't. You don't like the way it's being said, but you can't please everybody, man. And I've realized that, again, like I said in your Twitch yesterday, even with the Trump thing of just being a realist, like, the possibility, the 0.05% chance that he has of declaring martial law and writing it out for 4 years. Do you really want to live? What the hell is it called? Habeas corpus. Do you really want your civilian rights taken away for 4 straight years just so we can say that Donald Trump is president? And I shit you not, I was in Twitch the other night. Somebody that follows me came in. Hey, I love your videos, and I agree with everything you say except for this. Yes, I'd rather live under martial law. Yes, I'd rather have Trump as president instead of Biden. Yeah, it's nuts. And I'm sitting there going, like, do you understand that city, state, county police go away? Your literal rights as a U.S. citizen go on complete stop under martial law. And it's as if there wouldn't even be an acting president. The military would be the president. So all that, so we can say that Trump won. You're okay with that? Yeah, honestly, I'm okay with that.
And like, listen, I don't know what but there's no evidence to suggest any like systematic Democratic like voter fraud that would have turned the election.
My only take against it is it doesn't make sense to me, and I made a video, and it did pretty well. I don't understand how Joe Biden got 80 million votes. That's the only thing I don't understand. I'm not saying the possibility of him winning is very real.
It's the votes that get you, right?
Yeah, it's the amount. Sure. Again, I voted for Obama in 2008. I almost did again in 2012. That's another take where people are like, whoa, you voted for Obama. Yeah. And I proudly admit it. I shook the man's hand in 08 when he was campaigning. Like there was a part of me for a couple of years that really supported Obama. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a Muslim. I don't think Michelle's a man. All this bullshit rhetoric that people spit. Like,
I love the Michelle's a man stuff.
Oh my
God.
God.
It's so funny to me.
It's so ridiculous. You know, and the freeze frame videos of her on Ellen, like, oh, there's a dick. Stop it. Like, come on.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Well, so I can actually like explain why he got so many votes. So the reason he got so many votes is two things. The first thing is like there was the mail-in ballots. They were extended just purely based on like the reasoning of having coronavirus. The second reason is because instead of having a voting day, which we usually do, there was a whole week to vote. So more people, simply put, were able to vote because they had more than like a day to do it. They had like a whole week. And on top of that, there's fewer people going to work or to school because of the coronavirus. So more people are actually available to vote. So there's a lot of reasons why there are more people just simply able to vote. And so like it's not super unrealistic to me. They had projected a ton of mail-in ballots. 3/4 of people historically who submit mail-in ballots are Democrat. So like it wasn't really a surprise any of this happening. And like that's why Trump has been like pushing the rhetoric up for like mail-in ballots being fraudulent even before the election, because he knew that like it was going to happen.
I get it, you know, to the whole stay at home and people are more prone to vote because, in all honesty, I'm lazy, man. I went and voted in person just to do it anyways, but I can see a good percentage of this country being like, oh, wow, this is 10 times easier than getting in my car and driving and waiting in line where I can just check a box and send it in.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It blows my mind, man, because the hype, you know, that Obama had, first black president, great. And he amassed what, a little under 70 million, 67 million. Sure. And then
I will say that the positivity for Obama was matched, like the negativity of Trump was matching with the positive. You know what I'm saying? Like people hate Trump. So I could see a lot of people coming out, and then there's people who fucking love Trump. So I could see why the more people would come out, especially when they're riled up to think that there's going to be some kind of a fraud.
And that's the other take that I get a lot of shit for, is where people, you know, the silent majority, the red wave, this, that, and the other. I said, do you understand how many people behind closed doors hate this man too? Oh, yeah. Like you hear about the silent majority and people that are scared to speak out about supporting Trump because whatever, you know, whether it's reality or false reality.
It can get you some hate. It can get you some hatred. It's a hot topic.
And by no means do I sit back and say that I'm a martyr. Like I don't own a single piece of fucking Trump merchandise. I've called it cultism, and that's another take that I get absolute shit for. I voted for the man. I voted for the man. I like him. I think he was a decent president. I don't think he was the greatest of all time, but you will never catch me dead in a Trump shirt, Trump hat, Trump flag. Kind of like the dude that you did the video on, where you're like, oh man, it's a shame. I wanted to have you on my stream.
Yeah. I wanted to. You never responded. You know, it's so funny that you say with all the Trump stuff. I'm waiting for it to go on sale because I want to get it. It's funny to me. It's so like I'm not a particular fan of Donald Trump, but I think he's a funny meme. And so like that's pretty much my take on Trump. He's a funny meme. He's silly.
I said this, man. Like, as far as not being a politician, you got me there. Like, yeah, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. It's a totally different take on what a president has been or ever will be. Mm-hmm. That was cool for me. I'm like, okay, cool. Somebody who's maybe not that deep into politics and well liked by other politicians and all that other bullshit. That is somewhat what sold me. Obviously, you know, being somewhat pro-gun, and I hate this argument to him. Maybe we'll go into that in a minute. He's not pro-2A. He's pro-gun. He's not pro-2A. And people
I've heard he's put some, like, I know that he did like a big bump stock ban or something, right?
Well, my thing is, man, if you're going to be pro-2A, you are to zero restrictions, and I'm talking felon ownership. I'm talking, mentally unstable ownership. I'm talking RPGs and everything else. Like, if you're going to go pro 2A, that's what 2A is. Right. So when you say pro 2A, it's all or nothing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, well, I'd say I guess I'm more pro gun. I don't think people should be running around with grenades.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying in the realm of the hard right people that are, Trump's the most pro 2A president we've ever had. No, he's not. He's pro-gun because you know what? And people hate this too. Biden is pro-gun.
Mm.
He's just for some restrictions. Biden owns guns. And nobody wants to admit that. He's out to take my AR. He's out to take my handguns. No, he owns guns. He just wants to put more restrictions on it. So he can be pro-gun, but he's not pro-2A. So don't sit back and say either one of these guys or any of these guys are pro-2A. Pro-2A is all or nothing. You're talking full ownership, silencers.
Are you like full 2A? Are you pro?
It's hard, man. I am. Yeah. And it's crazy because then people are like, oh, you want mentally unstable people owning guns? I'd rather match the firepower and trust myself.
Sure, I get what you're saying. I understand. I think that it gets like a little sketchy when you get into like densely populated areas, you know?
Yeah. Oh, no.
That's where it gets tough.
It's scary, man, because then you sit back and I've collected my own thoughts on this. I'm like, man, do I really want to ride this out and have somebody that's like, you know, a 6-time felon that somehow dodged a life prison sentence that can go out and buy the same firepower that I have? Like, is that okay? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, it's not really okay. But at the same time, I don't trust the government enough to regulate it or put enough restrictions on it to keep them from getting it, even if they wanted to obtain it illegally. More so, I trust myself more than I trust anybody else. Meaning, allow me to match the power, and I'll defend what I needed to defend, and they can do whatever they need to do. But putting it all in the hands of the government is scary to me because it's more of okay, cool, put your restrictions in place if that's what you believe in, but then hold to it. I don't want to see any ridiculous mass shootings after restrictions. I don't want to see any felons walking around with guns. And I know that's asking for a lot, and that's me kind of being sarcastic.
Well, now with the lockdown, we haven't seen any mass shootings, so I guess maybe we're on to something. I think
just lock it down for the rest of life, man. Just this is life now. We're just all going to become Twitch streamers.
Yeah, right. Just hang out here. I think the bigger problem with like because people who are willing to go out and shoot people, there's something wrong with them, whether it's mentally or from like like a societal perspective, I guess. You know, when you mentally, obviously, people who are legitimately mentally unstable. But then there's also people like who are in gangs, and a lot of times, I would argue most people who are part of gangs aren't usually part of gangs because that's what they necessarily wanted to do. It was more something that they were like kind of conditioned to do based on maybe some kind of lack of opportunity, depending on the area.
Oh, it's definitely family, and people are family. No, it's a family structure. Usually, the leader of the gang is a father figure, and so brothers and all that.
Not even just that, but then there's also a lot of young kids who don't have fathers, and then they get like family when it comes. They just get like basically another family when it just comes.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
the other members are your brothers. The leader is the father figure. It's you're bringing money to the table, quote unquote. It's very family structured.
And then like a hot take, but then like drug dealers in communities, they're not all necessarily bad people. Sometimes they walk around and they help people who are less fortunate, but then of course they're killing the community by selling drugs to it. So it's a lot of stuff. And I would just say, like, obviously, so again, this is where it comes to like the UBI. I would argue that there'd be less mass shootings if people were just overall happier,
Yeah.
But I believe in, I mean, I don't know, I'm fine with gun restrictions. I think that we should figure out a way to like expand gun ownership, though. Like I'm probably gonna end up getting a gun soon. I have no problem with.
Oh, you don't have one yet?
No, I don't. Not yet.
Oh
not
man,
yet. It's difficult. I'm gonna try to get like a handgun license. I'm in New York, so it's gonna be a little tough. But I'm gonna try to get like a handgun license and go to the range and stuff. Like I want to be able to like support. Well, not support, but just be able to defend myself. Honestly.
Yeah. No, I'm originally from Philadelphia, man, and now I'm out on the West Coast. But I get it. The East Coast is. Well, I guess outside counties in Pennsylvania, because I was born and raised in Philly, but then grew up in like the outskirts outside of Philly. It's night and day different. And I guess you could even say it is here because I'm out in Nevada, obviously in the lovely city of Las Vegas. It is a Democratic city, but then you go to any county outside of Vegas and it's like full, just, I'm not trying to be funny, hick town, American flags everywhere.
It's like that a lot of places.
So, the gun ownership for me, it's you put, obviously, like you're saying, we've had less mass shootings. You put more guns in bigger cities. You're asking for problems.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure. No.
Again, I'm all for I think everybody should, I don't know, maybe more of a Mad Max theory, like everybody just fends for themselves, or maybe looking at like Arizona. I've gone to Arizona, being next door a couple times. concealed carry is completely legal. You don't need a permit. You can literally buy a gun and tuck it. That's
tough.
As far as I know, that's the only state that enacts that. It might be one or two others, but like in Nevada, you need a concealed carry permit to be able to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
In Arizona, no. Once you're, I think it's 18 for gun ownership. It might be 21 for handgun, but the second you're a gun owner, you can tuck it and hide it. And it's one of those where you talk to anybody from Arizona, and they're like, "Yeah, we really." It doesn't get too dicey out here because you never know who's carrying.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. It's just it could be an 80-year-old woman with a freaking 50 cal in her purse. Or
you're saying let the fear guide people to not fuck with each other.
It kind of.
I guess that could work. I guess it just depends on how unhinged some people are. Where they're like, "Fuck it, like I'll die over you cutting me in line."
Oh yeah.
No, there are people out there. I don't know. Maybe I would be that person. I don't know. Sometimes you get heated when you get cut off. I don't know if I can be responsible enough.
Yeah, I'm sure I could Google, how many shootings in Phoenix and Tucson and all the other, and it probably happens just as often, if not more often, as somewhere else. But just, from more of a social experiment of talking to people that live out there, they're, oh yeah, man, we never know who's carrying. So it's one of those.
So you try to respect everybody.
A little bit more cautious around people of states that have full bans, and the only way somebody would be carrying is if they, like you said, they don't give a shit, or they're absolutely nuts. But again, how do you call that? I've probably walked past 50 Ted Bundys in my life, and they looked at me and went, nah, not him, and then probably killed 10 people behind me, man.
It's possible. That's why it's good for me to be like unattractive, because I just people don't usually fuck with me.
Well, yeah, I just. Total different thought. I've thought about that so many times. How many times have I made eye contact with somebody who's literally ready to murder someone, and they were like, not him.
Said, nah. Well, it's like I'm not gonna fuck with that guy, and then they go on to like someone else. It's like, I guess a girl or something. There's somebody who's generally 5 minutes
later, you drive away, and then somebody got murdered in this area of town tonight. You had no idea it was the guy you just passed.
Yeah, it's wild, that intimidation factor.
But no,
you never know.
When I say Pro 2A, man, it's hot on both sides, because you got guys that are full on, and that's I guess that's why I hate the Republican tag so much. I guess you could call me a constitutionalist, like I more so than anything else, because I live and die by the Constitution. I think it should be respected and upheld. But if you're going to take the constitutionalist take, you have to word for word everything that's in the Constitution without being. I guess you could even take it to a textualist. You cannot change the wording. Like, again, the people that on the left that come with the argument, well, they didn't write it in place of ARs and handguns. These were for muskets. So if you, sure, own a musket, and because that's when the Constitution, the amendments were written.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other people that just says shall not infringe, period.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what the firearm is. Shall not infringe.
I would take the perspective of, like, obviously there should be some kind of updating as we move on. I mean, like, I think that's fair to say that our founding fathers probably didn't necessarily predict having like full, I don't even, what do you call them, assault rifles? People throw that around, but then people are like, well, technically an assault rifle.
What, AR?
Yeah. People just like, I don't know. You see,
technically Armalite, and that's where the AR comes from. So when people say, oh, assault rifle is not AR, that's the big argument on the right. Technically it's an Armalite rifle, and that's why they get so mad. It's not an assault rifle. An assault rifle is a fully auto M4 issued by the military. Don't call my Armalite hunting rifle, like, come on, dude.
Right,
like, we all
saying. But we know what we're talking about, like basically a gun that can take out a good amount of people before that person gets taken down, and
that's me being a realist. Like when people make that argument, like, oh, it's not an assault rifle, you're just taking the word assault off of it to make it sound less scary. I get it. Or on the adverse side, you're adding the word assault to make it more scary. I don't think there's really a center to be played. It's either you use it or you don't.
I feel like some people just don't, like, I mean, I have no idea. Like assault rifle. I mean, like, I don't know what the fucking, I mean, like it's called an AR. I don't really know. I don't know the classification, but like, it's definitely something that, to at least consider, like, yeah, that's quite dangerous. Like a musket, you could take out one guy, and then, like, you got to reload. Somebody could come up and just pop you in the face. With even a handgun, you could do some damage before you go down. So,
oh my God, yeah, because I know you were talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse. I watched that video, that
was a situation.
Dude, I'm going on here. Like when you upload this, you just put like TikToker, absolutely turncoat Republican. However you want to. I'm going in, Ben, because my opinion on Kyle Rittenhouse was bad. Just branching off the AR thing. One, I don't know if you saw the video. He absolutely obliterated that guy's bicep. That was the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
What do you mean?
Did you see the shooting? Like
I
the actual
saw,
video?
so I saw, yeah, I saw two videos. I saw the first one where he was engaging with the first person, and then like I saw the one where he was the engagement with the individual and the engagement with the crowd. I saw both videos.
Did you see the actual uncut footage of him when he's on his back shooting the guy that had the gun?
Okay, I saw it from like a distance.
There's a close-up video.
So I saw enough to make like my to feel confident in my perspective. I didn't see like the amount of damage he did.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just perspective-wise, I'm fine. No, I'm just talking straight gore.
No, I wasn't exactly even like interested. To be honest,
no, I didn't. I was watching it from a perspective of hey, I'm going to comment on it because people are asking for my take. But then I just happened to venture off and see. Like when people are, ARs are, they're not that bad. Like that was some heavy damage. He almost took that dude's entire arm off with one shot.
I don't know if that was the guy who died. I know that there was two people who died and then one person had serious injury.
No, this was the guy that was he was carrying. He had a handgun.
I didn't
on him
see it till after I made the video. That's the crazy part. Like I didn't even notice it. And somebody's like, "Yo, look!" And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like to me, that even suggests more validating of self defense. It's crazy.
Where I got crucified was I'm all for the self-defense. I'm all for it. I think he should walk for it because just from watching the videos, there was no real aggression taken. He tried to retreat.
Honestly,
he was on his back.
He did more than I think most people would do in his disengagement. I mean, like in the first situation with the person Rosenbaum, like he was, he went for his gun. He like sidestepped him. He ran away. The guy threw something. I think it might have been a bag or a bottle. I don't know. Threw something at him. He kept running away. The guy caught up with him and then he shot him. And it's like, I don't know what you want. What do you expect somebody to reasonably do in that situation?
Oh yeah, no. From the self-defense standpoint, I was 100%, and I got into it. This is where I drew the line. And again, being a constitutionalist or being somebody that upholds everything that's written in America, he needs to get charged with possession of a long rifle of somebody who's underage. That was my only thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And everybody. I got vilified, man. Everybody, first of all, took it out of context, and they're like, "Oh, so you're saying he shouldn't have shot those people?" No. I'm not saying that. What happened, and I hope he walks on those two charges. Oh, so you're saying he shouldn't have been there? Not saying that either. I'm saying he probably
shouldn't have been there with a gun because of his age. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And again, in the avoidance of the crime, if this law does come into play and he does get charged, then it's going to prove that he was not in lawful possession of the rifle at the correct age, meaning, again, therefore he shouldn't have been there. So me saying this, every single pro-2A, pro-gun, right-winger, what are you saying? He deserves life in prison? What do you? No. I'm saying
all of a sudden you're just like, hey, he should face a consequence because they're like at the very least he did something wrong by possessing the gun as a minor.
Just give him a 6-month suspended sentence, and nobody understands that suspended means you don't serve the sentence. Give him a 6-month suspended sentence. Put him on a year's worth of probation, stay out of trouble. So you know what? You're going to please some people that disagreed with the whole thing and be like, and they're going to say, hey, at least it, the county or the city or the state or the country is admitting that he was at some fault or he shouldn't have been there. I'm okay with that. Maybe I think he should have got charged with, aggravated assault or however you want to put it. But it's going to please some people. And to me, as somebody who respects the law and the Constitution, okay, I agree it was self-defense, and you're upholding the other side of the law that I also agree with, so it doesn't mess with gun ownership. The more you try to go around he was there. You can be 16 in that state for hunting purposes and have a rifle. He's hunting at 9:00 at night in the middle of the city.
Yeah, no, he was specifically there. He was he was specifically, and like I had a conversation with Destiny. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was there to basically, it's like a little militia, and I don't say militia like super tough. Like there was a bunch of people who went there to defend private property, and like apparently though this kid was like fucking not a real Boy Scout, but he was like a Boy Scout. Like he was like community service. I love guns and I'm like a gun owner. Community service. Like I love God. Like he was like a pretty stand up kid. He wasn't there to cause a problem. He was there to what he thought was, oh yeah, he was there to do what he thought was best, which was be to defend property. I think that you should be able to defend property. People are very ignorant when it comes to property defense. It's like, oh, well, lives are worth more than property. Sure, but like if you destroy my small business, I can't live now. So like, you know, and I say this, and I never say this as any advocation, but if you're angry at police, why are you destroying small business? You shouldn't do what I'm about to say, but like, why aren't you trying to destroy government property? Why are you trying to destroy private property? Go destroy a police station.
Listen.
Don't really do that. But if you're angry at the police, why the fuck are you destroying the fucking bodega on the corner?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe hot take. And again, yeah, I'm not even on your stream. I'm not advocating for this. When some of the protests and things and riots, whatever, I hate. Oh, it's not a riot. Whatever, man. Riots and protests were happening out here in Vegas. We didn't really get hit with any crazy businesses getting destroyed, like Targets or Walmarts. Unfortunately, a police officer was shot in the back of the head. He's probably going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life.
I'm surprised he's alive.
They did a lot of fundraisers for that, but that was right in the heart of the George Floyd thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was talking with my buddy, and I guess he knew somebody that was partaking in the protests, and he's like, "Yeah, they're marching down Vegas Boulevard right now towards whatever, the Circus." And I said, "Man, this is stupid. Like they're around all multi-billion-dollar casinos. Like, make it useful." And then about an hour later, he's like, "Oh, they're going down to City Hall now." I said, "Now that makes sense. Now that, like, if you're
right.
Get down, don't do it. My God,
don't do it. But if you're going to destroy anything, destroy the government. Like that's who you're angry at. You know what I mean?
Yes, go to the heart of who you're pissed off at, and that's unfortunately where the shooting happened of the police officer. And then I think there was a second shootout with a whole different guy that just went down there on some crazy shit. But it was all down near our quote unquote small government buildings in the heart of the city. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I said was, "Hey, I wish none of this happened. I think the protesting is bad or the riots are bad. But if you're going to make a point against the government, then why are you going after
the government?
Yeah, why are you going after Bill Walton? And why are you going after Target? Why are you going after
there's a lot of people who are rioting and looting that are just trying to take advantage of like a situation, right? And I'm fine with BLM. I don't think that every person that BLM chooses is like something to do with them being black. But like like George Floyd, I don't think that was a racial thing. But like I could see that's like a police brutality thing to me. So I understand the idea of BLM. I was like fine with the rioting specifically, or rather the protesting, for that perspective. So I think it's valid. I don't even know what the fuck point I was making, but I just like totally talked out of a tangent.
Maybe it was this. Another, again, man, I guess I'll just go off on everything where, claiming to be conservative hurts me. This was back in the heart of the George Floyd thing. And I think this gained a lot of my following on TikTok was every time I would do a live, every time 50 people would come into the live. And how do you feel about BLM? How do you feel about BLM? Are you a racist? How do you feel about, like, the second they saw Trump or conservative video, immediately, I stayed so far away from racial issues and BLM on TikTok. The only real videos
you get vilified for fucking being reasonable individual.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the only videos I really did was the whole "you can't be racist to a white person." Stitch it, and yes, you can. But
yeah, you can. I think so.
When people ask me, "How do you feel about BLM?" as a conservative, again, Constitution, as a constitutionalist, I am okay with their right to freely protest, as long as it doesn't become a riot. Who the fuck am I to go and say, "No, you can't be mad about that. No, you can't peacefully assemble and be pissed off." If you want to go march up and down the strip, or you want to go march up and down Wall Street about, the reality of or existence of unicorns, do your thing, man. As long as you're not burning down buildings, do your thing.
No, you got to get. No, you're absolutely correct. I believe that 100%. Yeah, no, it does. It's unfortunate when it devolves into like a fucking riot and looting. But
yeah, and that's and to me that doesn't represent the from the people that I've talked to, even in my small circle. That doesn't represent what they believe BLM stands for. That's the kind of deflectors. That's the kind of the people that are there to rile up.
If I could get a little conspiracy theorist on it, Me personally, I feel like Antifa is the one who ends up like riling tensions at BLM riots.
Oh
It's
yeah.
usually like your young Emily ACAB, like honestly, young dumb fucking entitled white kids there
Yep.
to jerk around and like escalate situations and like be violent for fucking nothing. Like performative activists who have absolutely like aren't positive at all. The same people who scream defund the police, which like black people aren't even for. Like as a whole, like obviously black people are less they have lower favorability with police, or police have lower favorability with black people than white people, but overall black people like cops. They just think that the system needs to change, and it very much depends on the area you're in. And then you got fucking like in New York, they're like, oh, defund the police, and like they pulled some police off the ground, and then like fucking black people were pissed because like as flawed as the system is, people still want police. They just want police to be better. They want police that grew up in their community to be the ones policing them. They want like more accountability, like body cameras. Very rational, reasonable things that I see 100%. And they don't want constant swapping of police in different areas. Because, like, you know, if you have police who are comfortable with the community, I get it. Like, there's an argument to be made that maybe they'll let some stuff slide. But there's an argument to be made people will be less inclined to hate the police if they like the police that are there. And less inclined to do things wrong if they're like, oh, I don't want to... Because sometimes, like, there are people who fuck with the police because they don't like police. A lot of times it's that, and like so maybe they're actually justified in that depending on their background. But like, you know,
and I get it, and I'm for it. Like when again, I'm not, because I forget where I just read that. You know, somebody stitched together. I think it was on Instagram, like 6 articles of where they did the whole defund the police, no reform, just straight up defund, and cut like half the department out. And it, you know, the first article showed, city lawmakers pushing for defunding the police. The second article, okay, officially defunded 50% of the police department. Staff walks off, layoffs, blah, blah, blah. Then the next article, city lawmakers not understanding why crime rates are so high. Fourth article, city lawmakers are asking for retired police officers to report back to duty.
Yeah, where was that? Because I remember seeing something where like New York cut their police and like, oh, crime's down. It's like, yeah, because nobody's fucking catching criminals. And it's like, what do you... It's like it's
I'm
just
all
crazy.
for, man. I'm all for. There was a show I think on Netflix that was talking about. It might have been Flint, Michigan, or right outside, like the worst city to be a cop. And they did. It was kind of like Cops, but it was more personal. They interviewed the guys that work in that area. Of what they needed for the community and how sketchy. These guys make like $13 an hour, man.
Who's that? Cops? The cops, really?
Yeah, in like Flint, Michigan, it's like starting pay was like $13.50 or $14 an hour.
Like you can't see. That's the thing about like defund, and like it's crazy because there are people who really love defund. They're like, we need to take resources from police and reallocate it into this, and it's like there's so many. Well, first of all, if your priority is to take funds away from police, like you need to check your priorities. There's bigger issues than the amount of money that police are getting. Okay, my perspective is like, yeah, like I said before, accountability, body cameras, probably alternative services like social work services in some cases. Sure, I'm sure there's plenty of things that we can implement, right? But like those things need to get done before you remove funds, because there's going to be police departments who don't have enough money as it is, so they need more training. And then you're going to have police departments like in fucking New York, where could they actually reallocate? Probably. Do you think that police union's going to? No. And like, it's nice to shout to the hills and say, that's wrong. Well, life is fucked. So get over it. And if you want to solve the main issue, solve it, and then we'll get to the money afterwards. And it's just like, there's no level of practicality. And there are people who are just swear by defund, and they spend so much time trying to re-educate you on what it means, where there's some good to it, that it's what's the point? Yeah. What's the point? Like Obama was talking about like somewhat recently. He's like, yeah, I think that defund the police is like a bad idea. Nobody wants, that's not palatable for anybody. Reform the police would be perfect. Like, because as a person who works a real job, when you're at work and you hear defund the police, not only is there like an aspect where they want defunding, but even if it didn't mean that, you're not going to look into that. You're going to say, fuck that. I work 40 hours, maybe more a week. I'm tired. I don't like politics. I don't like defund. I'm not going to educate myself. So you're spending so much time having people try to educate them on something, when if they heard reform the police, they'd be like, oh, totally fine. I have no problem. Body cameras, that makes perfect sense to me. Like
and maybe it's a little specific, and I know this isn't. I know just from my small circle and maybe things that I've done in the past, the police are not trained to work specific areas. I know that in any kind of academy. They're not, and I'm not advocating to make an excuse for them. This is something that needs to be added to the academy.
It's true. You have a lot
this
of people,
is something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying this is something that needs to be added to the academy, and maybe people will be like, oh well, that's what a lower form of segregation. Like, are you putting somebody in a certain area because of the way they look? No. I'm saying people can be better fit in maybe the poorer areas of town, and we can train them to work with lower income, poverty level people.
It's 100% true.
And
yeah.
This is their beat. This is where they stay and work, rather than Northwest Command, Southwest Command, all this other bullshit. And like you said, it gets so rotated out that a lot of the same cops aren't working the same areas 6 months from now, and nobody gets a familiar face.
Well, that's the problem though, is nobody wants to work those. So I know in New York, because I have friends in the police department in New York City, they put the fucking amateurs in these really loaded areas. Why the fuck would you do that? Put the jaded fucking cop there that that like doesn't give it, because here's my thing, you put a rookie there, all of a sudden somebody pops out of the thing and you shoot, and now they're dead. So give the kids something easier and put them listen, if you got an older dude in a more impoverished area, they don't take shit, they don't get upset over remarks, because people berate police in some of these areas.
No, they're just trying to do their time and get out. They're just there.
I don't give a fuck. That's what you want. You want that guy there, and honestly, put people from the community too in that area. But no, it's well, I don't want to work it. I want the easy run, so I'm going to give the guy who gets paid a third of my pay, who just got out of the academy, and he's going to work the toughest area. And it's this kid's going to shoot on a dime. They're people, they're afraid, and they're not getting enough training on top of that. Put the fucking and there's some things you can't get training for, like interactions with people that don't like you. So put them in easier areas and progressively move them up, and then give them more money as you move them into harder areas.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all for it. And again, it's there's so much black and white, man. With 95% of the people that I talk to, there's very little logic or pragmatic approaches applied to anything anymore. It's either you're for or against.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And having these discussions again, all these people that are either for or against or want change, but see everything so black and white. I'm like, dude, if you sit down and have discussions like these, you can actually come to a conclusion, giving some and taking some.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to, no. It's my way or nothing.
That's the
I don't
problem.
want to hear it. The police are racist, or on the opposite side, this group is racist, or whoever you think is racist. That's the only way you see it. There's no other possibility.
100% agree. And it's so funny because first and foremost, people just seem to forget we live in a fucking democracy. It's crazy. They want what they want. You see a lot of progressives. They're screaming for I want this, and it's people don't want that. You're not the only person. I don't care, and it's crazy. And then also hey, you touched on it before with police are racist, right? They'll always say, well, police are and I saw a very interesting TikTok, and they made a really good point that police are racist because they were founded as a racist institution. That's probably true. But so was Planned Parenthood, So if you think that Planned Parenthood is good, then you can't think that the police are bad. Things aren't as racist as they used to be in any capacity. You would have to take a crazy perspective that black people are treated the same way now than they were in the 1700s, right?
Well, I'll keep boosting your ego. I watched that video too with who was it, Conscious Lee?
Yeah.
Again, man, I think I've stitched his videos before. It's just take, I'm not talking shit by any means, but again, the black and white. Would you rather be black now or black in the 1800s? I don't see a difference, bro. You kidding me?
Right.
You're sitting, but what I'm saying, you're sitting on a camera, speaking freely on your iPhone 12, wearing jewelry in your own house, and you're literally not being basically chased by a mob and killed under the legal law or whatever, or having the police turn a blind eye to it. You don't see a difference?
No, right? Yeah.
I know it's sarcastic. I know it's an embellishment, but really, dude, that was my only.
Well, and that's why I hate debates. I hate debate rhetoric, language, because we can acknowledge that there needs to be more progress in America, while also acknowledging that things are better than they used to be. And it's now things like that are a hot take. It's how the fuck is that a hot take? Now it's just it's crazy, and it's that whole conversation was something. I know he's trying to get me to duet him and stuff on. I don't care to engage with him. Everybody who knows at this point, they should. He's one of them. If you want to have a conversation, just show up to the stream. I'm not going to formally invite him. I'm not going to you know what I mean? It's show up. Just show up. What's up? But I don't think he has a topic either. And that's like a lot of things. It's like there's people that just hate me. They don't have a topic. I invited so many people to come on after the Brandon Bernard shit. Nobody showed up. They knew. They were all like, "Oh wow, your takes are really bad." It's like, okay, showed up to stream. Like I have pretty calm conversations. Oh no, what are you, just like a debate me bro guy? It's like, dude, you're being so fucking stupid. Like you can't talk about any nuanced situation on TikTok it's just impossible to get all of it in a minute.
Oh yeah, no, and I was gonna say that like 30 minutes ago. What people don't understand, especially the ones that don't make videos, don't have content, but expect a articulated response. Like, do you know how hard it is? Because I'm not gonna make. I love when people make the 4-part videos. They're like, oh yeah, like for part 2,
I don't like
part
making
3.
them.
I hate it, but. Do you know how hard it is to get my full explanation? You do in 60 seconds, and then you'll post it, and they'll comment something and be like, and you'll be like, "Shit, man, I should have said that. I could have said that." Yeah. And it's further aggravating.
Because that's what happened with the Brandon Bernard thing. There are people like, well, you don't care about reform. It's like, well, I didn't mean that. And if you really, if you dug through what I said I didn't care about the reform, not reform in general. But like again, like I had a minute, so I made a take, and then it's like, what do I say? And here, if I say something like that, and they're like, oh, you don't care about reform. I'm like, no, I don't care about it at this point. I can elaborate. I did. Every single person who came to talk to me left like understanding my perspective with like a disagreement, but like it's
all straw man.
They don't want
like
nobody wants to show up.
I made a video about abortion, being against abortion, and immediately the first comment that I saw is, oh, so you don't care about black people? Like what? I mean, it's just I mean a lot of it is trolling, but I do what you do on a smaller scale now for the last 30 days that I've been on Twitch. I'll simultaneously run a live on TikTok and wait for these trolls to come in and to say things. I'll just be gaming. And I'll say, hey, man, if you want to actually debate this, you want to discuss this, come over to my Twitch and I will back everybody off. I don't care if I got to silence the whole chat. You won't be attacked. I'm literally giving it to them on a silver platter. You won't be attacked. You won't be vilified. I'll tell my moderators to shut everybody up that says anything out of line. You can have a platform to speak your piece.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, oh, well, you just want me over there for the views? No, bro. I just like you're one.
Like that person's probably not going to bring the views. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's your one extra view, bro. You're not doing me any favors. I'm just telling you we can get away from the toxicity of TikTok. You don't have to type 150 words or 150 characters or less. You have an open platform. Like shit, I've even told people I'll Zoom call you, bro. We can sit here and do this exactly like me and you were doing.
Once you get to that point, and it's funny because I've totally forgot to advertise on TikTok like after but whatever. Anyway, you get to a point you should get a Discord when you get your new computer, and you should just be like, oh, you want to come and have a conversation, like be my guest, just come in here and like we could talk. People aren't really interested in it. They just want to like bark. They don't care. And and my biggest issue are the people on TikTok who are in the political space. If you want to speak, like put up. Like if you want to be a content creator that wants to have like these conversations, so if you think my perspective is so wrong and toxic that like I'm poisoning the minds of people, then come do something about it. Come tell me that. But like they don't want to. Like they're performative. Like they're just like, oh, bad take. And it's like, well, why? Because you don't. Like
you
missed. It's like, dude, like explain it. Because I'll explain it. Explain it to anybody. Come here. I'll explain it to you. I don't give a fuck.
And I know you were I don't know if you still keep up with them because I haven't even seen them on TikTok, but just talking about the jumping on somebody for the smallest things, Freak the Gemini. I follow
him. Like, he keeps getting
yeah. I was mutual friends with him because I did a video for him when he first got banned for the exposing of pedophiles, and just in my video I said cancel culture itself just likes being cancel culture because it's something to do. It's not about the actual issue of canceling somebody. It's literally just or it's not about the issue of what they're being canceled for. It's literally just, hey guys, let's collectively get this person completely fucked. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, with the Freak thing and so on. Well, actually, no, you're right because Freak he's had some rough patches. Like he's a pretty intelligent guy, and like we had a conversation a while back, and he talks about how like he's changed so much from like he's becoming like more progressive, slowly understanding the issues, like not only in his community but in general. But he's had some rough interactions where like he said some bad shit, and now people hate him for it, and they want to cancel him at like every given moment. And like then on top of that, like the Zoe Laverne, the specific video that he showed got him banned.
Was that the chick the kiss the 13-year-old or whatever that was.
I got my alt account got banned for it too. If you put up the video of them kissing, you got fucking banned.
Dude, call me a conspiracy theorist. There was a part of me, and I think I had this discussion. Yeah, I think it was on Twitch because I was so scared to say something on live, and I'm like, oh no, like my account, knock on wood, on TikTok has. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say. But
hey, don't jinx yourself.
I was so scared to say it, but it almost appears as if TikTok is I don't want to say promoting pedophilia, but protecting it. And again,
I understand what you're saying.
Total conspiracy theory, but the people that are speaking out about it are getting banned. Mm-hmm. And the accounts, how long did it take Gemini Official to get pulled down? What was it, a month?
Yeah, it was. It's reactionary. So it's like, oh, we pull him down because everybody started mass reporting him. I kind of understand it because I think their perspective is like, oh, we don't want to do something that's not particularly confirmed from a legal perspective, because if we pull somebody down because they're a pedophile and they're not, we're diminishing their character. But I also think that they just want to be as quiet as possible. That's why they don't give a fuck unless like you riot. Unless you riot on somebody, they don't give a shit about anything that's going on. Like TikTok is not exactly they're a business. They don't care. Like, you know, they're going to pander to advertisers and the loudest minority. Anybody.
Oh yeah.
But
it's just again, and I said this in a video the other day. I can't stand Alex Jones. Can't stand him. As a conservative,
I was about to say he's another funny meme to me.
He's nuts, man. No. I mean, like total meme. More so even than Donald Trump. Like tinfoil hat, just is out there. Center Earth, reptilians. Like how anybody takes him serious on some things. I did say on like a small percentage. Maybe if you want to talk about like child sex rings, he's been getting at something, but. I don't really hold any weight to what he says.
There is a bizarre normalization of pedophilia in society.
Well, and that's the thing for like TikTok, building my own conspiracy. Okay, one video of a 15-year-old girl in short shorts and a spaghetti strap tank top gets 85 million views. And over here, again, I'll boost my own ego. Pragmatic, logical thinking, actually educating people. 10,000 views.
Yeah, right. Well, part of it's because what people are interested in, of course.
Yeah.
But like, what's the problem? Like, and it's just like it gets so bad when it's young people doing it too, and like you're taught from a young age to sexualize yourself, and then like there's creepy people on there that are like, ooh, I like that, and so, and then even like even Charli D'Amelio, 16-year-old girl. Her job is to be like kind of a, there's probably better examples, but like kind of a sex icon for kids. And it's like the Jonas Brothers, like that could like even let's say Tony Lopez, like his job is to be sexy for 13-year-old girls on TikTok. And it's gross.
So wild to me, man. Mm-hmm. But I guess, maybe in the era of me growing up, I didn't notice it. But yeah, you could say the same thing about like Justin Bieber when or any of those Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, because I'm 31, so being a millennial, being somebody who grew up in that era, I didn't notice the sexualization of these guys or women like Britney Spears. Watching it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, she's hot, but no, it's full on like softcore porn, dude.
Yeah, it is.
And now that I'm looking back as an adult, I'm like, watching a Britney Spears music video, just analyzing it, like, holy shit, man, this is what they were promoting. And then I sit back and I'm going to high school with girls that are, that look ridiculous or are sexualizing themselves and not putting two and two together, like where they're getting it from or where they're seeing it. You just think you write them off as I hate using, oh, you're a slut. No, they're seeing what they see on TV.
That's the thing. Well, what happens is like, okay, let's use, because Britney Spears works for me till I'm 30, right? So like I used to look at her videos when I was hanging out by myself, you know what I'm saying? So... But like, so she'll make a video.
Doing a little, hey.
she's sexy, right? So young boys are like, I like that. Like young minors, like, oh, that's sexy to me too. And then young girls look at them and go, oh, that's what they find sexy. I'm gonna emulate that. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, you can even add the editing where it's like adults find Britney Spears sexy. So now they're finding kids sexy too because those kids are imitating Britney Spears. And it's like, oh my god, it gets gross. And then the worst part is if you suggest that clothing can be sexual, then you're a pedophile.
Yeah, you better not, especially do it as a white male. Then you're really screwed. You're adding to the patriarch.
Yeah,
You're adding to the misogyny.
one of probably my most popular video with like I guess 8 million views or something was like a black dude, and he was like, there was a young girl and she was in like attire that is traditionally associated with being, you know, a little loose in, I guess, in the black community, and he's like, yo, you shouldn't have your kid in that, like guys are going to be predators towards that girl. And like, I at the time I didn't know that was like sexualized clothing, but I was like, listen, and somebody basically like, oh, you're a pedophile, blah blah, and I was like, listen, like he's just trying to protect the kid. Like there is sexualization attached to some clothing. Like would you put a lingerie on a 5-year-old? Like no, because you acknowledge that some things can be sexual. So like just on fundamental level of railing into this guy because he wants to protect a young girl from being predatorized blows my fucking mind. You know, well, it's crazy.
And there has to be a level of understanding and morality to it. Like, God, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago on Facebook and Instagram before all this, the whole, you know, free the nipple movement and all that. And I get it. I get it. Trust me. Like when I talk to the hardcore feminists or the women, like I get it. Our society shouldn't sexualize everything. Our society should be able to accept it. And hey, if guys can go shirtless and it's normal,
why can't
women can do it too? Blah blah. I get that argument, but you have to weigh into account how fucking psychotic people are. It's not so much me, because then it's always the argument of, oh, well, you're telling me how to dress because you're a misogynist, then you're enforcing the patriarchy. You're doing all this because you want control over a woman. No, I'm doing this because I may be normal and may be able to look at you shirtless and not be a complete rapist or be a complete sexual deviant.
Sure, yeah.
But the next 10 people that I know exist, the Ted Bundys, the Jeffrey Dahmers, all these guys out here walking around looking for a reason, might not accept it the way that I do. So from a moral standpoint, I'm just telling you, you know, whoever this is,
just telling them to be careful.
That's I'm trying to look out for you. I'm not trying to put you in this box of how you can dress. I'm just like, hey, man, understand your surroundings. The world's not good. There's nothing good about it. Like everybody has this, oh, accept me for who I am. Don't be mean to me. I can wear what I want. Don't sexualize me. Cool. I can respect that. Wear what you want. I won't sexualize you. But what about the other, 7.9 billion people?
The irony too is that like you, from your perspective, like they're like, oh, you're a misogynist, but from your perspective, like, and this is where I come from too, like, like some guys are disgusting. Like you're trying to protect women from other men. It's not like you're how are you a misogynist when you're like, hey, there are guys who are shit, and it's like, well, I shouldn't have to do that. But it's like, yeah, I agree, but you do, because this is where we fucking live. And like as idyllic as we can all be, like this is the reality of life. So cover up or get a gun. I don't know.
Yeah, society is mentally broken. Not everybody, but just talking to people, going back to just being around work, if you work around, especially a lot of guys, and I'm sure feminists will love this one, but and the men will hate this one, dude. Like I consider myself, we'll talk about progressive Christianity here in a second because I catch shit for that all the time. But I curse, I smoke, I have my fun, I talk a lot of shit, but I'll sit back and there's some weird shit out there, man. You'll be sitting and having a conversation like, oh, yeah, man, that chick's good looking, or yeah, she's fine, or yeah, this. And then the one guy will chime, ooh, I'd love to. Oh, man.
No, it's a real thing. It's a real.
There, like full blown having an orgasm in your chair, just looking at somebody. Like, what do you. And I'm looking at people like, is this how you act all the time? Like, it's.
No, it's so. But it's real. It's so real.
Acknowledging that happens and then applying it to somebody that's like, oh, I'm a woman and I don't want to wear my shirt because I don't have to, and it's freedom of expression. I'm like, yeah, cool, it's freedom of expression and I can respect that. But I just talked to this dude that's literally, talking about like tying you up in his basement if he had the chance.
Yeah, right.
Like this is the only reason I care about you protecting yourself. I don't care what you want to wear. But yeah, explaining that to somebody always gets thrown back in my face as, no, you're just controlling the way that I dress. No, you're just reinforcing the patriarchy. No, I'm literally trying to stop the next rape from happening. Like, I'm literally.
It's hard to try to do the right thing sometimes. It's fucked up. It's just crazy. And what's crazy though, it's always like, it's like a lot, like where I worked, like it's very normal for like 50, 60 plus year old men to just be really disgusting about women. It's weird. Fucking insane, uncomfortable as fuck.
It must be a universal thing, because I guess like, and I hope I make it to 65 just so I can be like, it wasn't me. No, I can't tell you how many guys that I talked to that were a couple years away from retirement, and I'm talking a group of guys, not friends, different dudes.
Mhm.
Oh, the second I retire, I'm moving to the Philippines. You know, they like them young out there. What?
Bro, yeah,
I'm
no,
moving to
it's real.
Thailand. I'm what? Like what?
It's weird. It's weird.
And it just old creepy dudes that are I'm selling my house and I'm packing up and I'm moving to Thailand. You could buy a 15-year-old down there for $10. I'm sorry, excuse me. Like what? What? And this wasn't just one guy, and this wasn't just it's a group of pervs. No, this is one dude, and then I jump to a different job, and it's another guy, and I jump to a different job, and it's another guy. Like it's this collective, like old man, single. I guess if they're not married or their wife died or something like that, it's well, I'm 65 or 70, and fuck it, I'm just gonna let out the rest of my days where all this is legal.
I'm gonna let out my days fucking
oh
kids. It's
God, man.
It's there's people and they're mostly younger girls. They're like, oh, the patriarchy exists, and it's like, but I should be able to do whatever I want. And it's like if you believe in a real male threat, why are you not cautious?
Yeah, you know, it sucks, man, because it's set up from both sides. I don't know if you saw, there's a video floating around on TikTok. It got like 40 million views. It's been up for a while. A girl put a phone in her back pocket and put the camera facing out. And she was walking around Walmart and freeze frames like 17 dudes looking in the direction of the phone, like looking at her ass.
Right.
So, and then immediately just vilifying these guys. There's a couple guys that even just like side eye, maybe even just looked in her direction.
I might. How old was she? Did she look really young?
She probably maybe like 25, 26.
Oh, okay, I would do it then.
So it wasn't great, but immediately just, no blur face, no nothing. Just look at this pervert. Look at this. And I commented on there. I said, for my own safety, I look at people's waistline, male or female, for guns. Like as nuts as that sounds. But no. Here's the crazy part about it. I didn't say guns. I said I look to see if people are carrying, and that's all I said. I said, would I be vilified? Would I be vilified for looking? Because if they're carrying, and the next comment under that was some girl, you misogynist pig, carrying. You mean like if she was pregnant? Oh my God! Forget it. Never mind.
You still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, it's very tin canny though. You went from mic purity to tin can.
Mm-hmm. So fucking. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I can hear you the whole time. It's very echoey and tin canish. It's like it sounds like you switched mics. Like you picked up one mic and gave out the other.
My Lord.
See, I can hear you, but I don't think your stream can hear you.
No, I know that. Okay.
His chat just eats me alive. No, a lot of. Oh yeah, no. I'm saying anything I say. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like you're in a tin can. Everybody in the chat, can of beans, tin can, canned beans, Papa can, tin can, tin Papa.
Music slowly started to go up. You guys started at like 160, sitting at steady.
Hell yeah.
Right now.
Still tin cannon though.
Dude, what the fuck happened? I mean, does it sound better now?
No. It's just I mean, like I said, I could hear you, everything's fine, but it's not the quality that you were pushing out. Papa can, tin Papa. Papa beans. There it is. That sounds good. No, it sounds way like it's not picking up anything else. I just had to turn my headset up a little bit, but you're good.
Now I have to go. Fuck's happening? Fucking mic. I love the mic. I usually. It's just.
Dude, you're eons ahead of me. I'm setting up my Twitch like 3 weeks ago, and I got a decent mic, and
Took me
for the
a-
computer
took me
I'm
a
using.
long time to get.
I'm talking and yelling and screaming into shit because I have my mic turned off, but people are like, "Yeah, we could still hear you," and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on, bro?" It took me an hour and a half to figure out that my video camera has a microphone in it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I had the exact same problem.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because I buy the camera attachment, so I automatically assume there's no way it could be the camera. But no, it was the camera picking up everything.
I had the exact same problem. Second.
It was wild. Do your thing. You good?
It's just not. Insane.
Your quality sounds fine right now.
It's
like
because,
it's not.
Okay.
It's not what it was.
Probably
30 seconds ago. Yeah, no, you sound fine. Like it's higher quality. It's not echoey.
There we go. Now I'm back to like my normal quality, I think. There we go. It's a little lower than usual, I think. Well, at least on my end. But yeah, dude, so fucking ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck just happened. I think it's my USB ports, like a little fucked up.
Yeah, dude. I came from the realm of PC gaming. I cannot wait to. I went full send. I'm going to be paying this bitch off for the next year. So hopefully it works on levels of paying itself back for Twitch. Because believe it or not, man, God, I'd never ask you, but I'm actually doing not bad on Twitch just from putting a month's worth of work in. It's unbelievable. Like night and day different from TikTok. Night and day different.
What do you mean, like the people following you and whatnot, or?
Well, no, like subs and donations and actually
yeah.
like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, some people can be like very generous. Like that's how I was able to make it a career. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Even if it comes in side money or a side thing, yeah, I'd love to do it. I just I need to learn a lot. Like I said, we're over here. I'm screaming into cameras, trying to figure out where my mic is pulled in, and uploading videos on YouTube. And people probably think I'm 50 with the way that I talk about computers, but I'm decent at gaming. I'm horrible at setup. I'm horrible at tech shit.
I had the exact same problem when I first started. my microphone's low. People are.
You sound
on here I sound good, but like it's fucking insane how like fucked this shit. I don't know what happened. 1 second. Yeah, now I'm getting like a lot of shit.
Now it's back to the tin can.
Yeah, no, it's like fucking insane.
Oh no, now it's good. No, now you're good again. All right.
Bro, it's so fucking insane. Like I was totally fine. And now I'm fucking all fucked up over the place. You sound fine, just low. Now I sound too low, so it's like insane. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Imagine the shit that I jumped through to download this OBS camera because I didn't know you couldn't run a separate camera through Streamlabs and through OBS and have it running dual programs. I'm over here scrambling trying to figure that shit out, and that finally worked. But yeah, all of this I'm sure I'll learn over time. But holy crap.
You know what? Not to be like, I guess let's end it here because I have to fuck with my volume anyway. We got a good amount of time, so it's not like the worst.
Oh yeah.
But
no, you're good, man.
So annoying. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so I mean, just DM me your Twitch after we end.
What on TikTok or on Discord?
Discord or in the chat or something. I'll follow it.
All right, I got you. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, of course. So,
got to do it again. Now your audio is completely gone.
Is it gone now? Is it back?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Know. I don't fucking know. Anyway, I appreciate you coming on. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
There it is.
Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on, my man. All right, take care.
Thanks, brother. Take it easy, man.
You too.
want to say thank you
all right,
so
guys,
much,
we got-
guys, to all my Patreons, and a special shout out to my Papa XL Patreons. Without all you guys, I would just be some fat dude screaming into a microphone. So thank you so much, guys. Mwah. I love you all. I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.